Welcome back to the Morning Juice. I'm your host, Juice. I am your host, Juice, where the dream has finally became a reality. So sit back, grab a glass, let's grow together. Today, we're going to do something a little different. I want to talk about trauma today. I want to talk about what's happened in the last few months since everything started, and especially since the first of the year. As you could tell, we haven't had an episode. We didn't have an episode last week. That there's extenuating circumstances, and we're going to talk about that too. First of all, you saw in the season premiere episode that we had a nice new studio, and we had Mr. Dennis on there talking about the Shelby Foundation, which was an awesome and amazing and emotional episode. What y'all don't know is shortly after that episode, I got my release papers from Path. Path got a new investor, and they decided they didn't need the people who built Path no more. So there's no more me, T-Bell, Wink, Tim, Melissa, Dr. E, or Chesney. The other two partners decided they wanted to go a different route, and that's cool. They got the building, but the 7-8 of us, we were Path. So that happened. So I was without a job for a month. I now work for Recovery Unplugged. I do admissions. Love it. Didn't think I wasn't going to catch on at all. I've never worked so many different platforms on a computer before, and anybody that knows me knows that I am. Self to say, I'm computer illiterate for sure. So I've been working there for about 2 weeks now. I think I just finished my 9th or 10th day. I'm loving it. They're a great company. It's one of the places I've always recommended. If you couldn't go to the ranch or to Path, you could always go to Recovery Unplugged. Rossi, that was on season 1, works there. I want to shout out him and T-Bill for helping me get on there. But the reason why we didn't have an episode last week, everybody that watched the very first episode knows that my mom has been fighting liver disease for 30 plus years. And my third day at my job, which was last Monday, I don't even know what date it was, she got the call that she got a liver. A normal 5-hour surgery turned into a 9.5-hour surgery. We were expecting it. They told us up front that this was going to be a risky surgery for her. 1, because she was at such an advanced stage. 2, she had an artery going to her liver that was bad. So they had to reconstruct a whole new artery for her. So she didn't have just the normal cut. She's cut all the way up to her, pretty much where they had to redo the artery. We had some few setbacks. It was expected. Everything was expected. By the grace of God, she went home this past Thursday, which was, let's see, what is today? Today is the 7th. She went home on the 5th. The reason why I want to wrap trauma into this for everybody watching is trauma has a way of coming back and sneaking up on you when you least expect it. I've been doing this program for almost 33 months now, almost 34 months, honestly, because I'm coming up on 3 years in May. And I've done a lot of trauma work. I've taught people how to do trauma work. I've done my recovery, especially in the past year. I have changed exponentially in the past year for the better. Probably since I did my episode to now, I've had the greatest growth in my recovery, and I'm ecstatic and I'm happy for it. I'm happy with all the work I do in recovery. I genuinely love people, which I've always genuinely loved people. I want the best for everybody. But the people like us that deal with trauma, sometimes it has a funny way of sneaking up. I wasn't able to be at the hospital the day Mom had her liver transplant surgery because it was literally my 3rd day on the job. And you can't really ask off for work on your 3rd day of the job, especially when you have no PTO and you're in training. My managers at Recovery Unplugged were awesome. They said if it takes a turn for the worse or if I need to leave, I could. But they thanked me for sticking it out. And it was probably good that I was at work because it kept me busy. But the funny thing is, and I didn't even talk to my brother about this, and was that the trauma snuck back in that day. While my mom was under surgery, all I could think about was The smell of the hamburgers that day when he poisoned her, the smell of cigarette smoke in the house, the smell of lemon pledge, just him fixing her plate, him telling us that that burger was just for her. And it's just funny because I've worked on all this stuff and nobody really has answers for it. I don't know if her getting the liver allowed my body to just release all this nonsense that's been inside of me for all these years. But even since she's had her liver surgery, I've had nightmares. Nightmares she's not going to make it. Nightmares of her being in the ICU when all that poisoning stuff happened. The nightmares that Chris was taken from the house 3 days after everything happened. Just all kinds of nightmares. And it's just, and I've talked to my groups about it. So don't think that I'm not okay, because I'm completely okay. I'm doing this because I know there's other people out there whose trauma sneaks back in their life when they least expect it, or maybe when something great's happening, because mom getting the liver is literally the most God-sent blessing that's been bestowed upon me besides the birth of my 2 kids. God is good. He has blessed me in ways that I don't deserve. Whew, but God's good. So for something that was so happy and celebratory, just an amazing thing that happened in our lives, I'm still sick. I'm still got this trauma that's releasing. Unfortunately, another reason why I'm emotional today, unfortunately, mom went home on Thursday. Today is the 7th. So she's been home a little over 24 hours. She got a call last night after she did her blood work for yesterday. Her white blood count's high, and her anti-rejection medicines are not where they're supposed to be, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be. They're too high, too low, whatever it is. I believe they're too high. So unfortunately, she's back in the hospital today, and it's scary. It's scary. And as I told a friend this morning, it's scary because it's more trauma releasing from the body. Because as I'm sitting here doing this show today, now I'm thinking about the 17-year-old me trying to keep everything together while my mom's in the ICU and they didn't know if she was going to make it or not. And here we are, literally 30 years later, almost the same month, and we're in the ICU again. And instead of the 48-year-old man that's supposed to be calm, cool, and collective, a 17-year-old kid is hurting a little bit. And this will pass. And this is why I wanted to do the show today, is because for us that suffer with mental illness, depression, anxiety, PTSD, especially those 3, because those are the 3 that I'm wrapped around in. Normal people are like, why does that kind of stuff come back and attack you? Can't answer you. Can't answer you because I've done the work. I've done the trauma therapy. I do the therapy. I'm a counselor. I do recovery meetings. I try to help every single person I come in contact with. But then sometimes these, I don't even want to call them demons, these memories come back. And I'm not scared of them. I'm not in a place where I would have been 3 years ago, where self-harm and suicide attempts would have been the answer to the pain that I'm feeling right now. Now it's meditation, it's prayer, it's doing a tip, which I use the temperature one. I bury my face in ice water. I connect with people when I'm struggling, and it's just, that's how far I know I've come, because 3 years ago, this would have definitely been a suicide attempt, and nobody would have known it because nobody knew of the other ones. Because when we suffer, we feel like we suffer alone, but that's not the case today, because today I've got a family, I've got a group, and we lean on each other during the hard times. So since January, I have lost my job. I am worst financial shape, but got a new job, and my mom got her liver. So it's all it cancels itself out. But that trauma just sits there, because even when I lost a job at Path, anybody that was around me when I lost my job at Path, I had the grieving process. I had the anger. I had the hurt. I had the why wasn't I good enough that's always been a part of my life, because it's always felt like that I was just never good enough for somebody or a situation or anything. And then when I feel like I am good enough, I fall off. An example of that's at Sonic. 2016, on top of the world. I had just won Operator of the Year. I had the baddest ass crew of all time. That crew from about 2014 to 2017 was the best, probably some of the best years of my career at Sonic with that crew. I probably had the, I definitely had the top managers because they carried me through some tough times. But after I won that award, I started crashing and burning, unfortunately, because I felt like I was good enough until about a couple of months after the trophy, or not even that long. Literally, the night I grabbed the trophy, all I could think about is how much time I lost with my kids and how my decisions uh, during their childhood to strive to be the best or be appreciated, it was an appreciation thing. I've always suffered from an appreciation thing. And they say it's from lack of attention when you was a kid. And it may be so. Like I don't know. I don't do the recovery work for accolades, for money, because Lord knows if you're in the recovery world, you're not making money. You're not gonna get rich doing this field unless you're scamming and scheming, and I refuse to let my morals and ethics let me do that. But it just makes me feel good. It just makes me feel good to be able to love on a person, to let them get the help that they need. And going back to my mom and the trauma, I know she's gonna get through this. Like that's not even a question in my mind. I don't believe God brought her this far, made her fight this hard to stay alive, to get a liver, for him to take her in the next couple of weeks because it's not working out right. I wholeheartedly believe that my God is going to take care of her. So that's not even the question with the tears and the feelings I have. It's more of the just the trauma, man. When everything went south, when everything went south, Mom was already in ICU when I was on my second date with Donna. And literally that day is when everything in my life changed, because that's when that man decided to hurt my little brother and I wasn't there. And I think that fucked me up real bad, because I believe from that point on I was going to make sure nobody messed with him because I wasn't there that one time. But this trauma's hitting hard right now. I've reached out to my people. I've been in contact with my sponsor. I've talked to my little sis, my little recovery sis. She's the alumni director at the ranch. I've been leaning hard on my people. Things are good. Things are going the right way. And like I said, I will overcome these little setbacks I'm having, but I'm still here. And that's what what today's message is about, is that even on your lowest of lows, while you're in recovery, they're still not as low as the lows you had before recovery. And when you have the right tools and the right skill sets, you can even overcome stuff that was more traumatic today than stuff you went through when you were younger. And we can, with your community, and I tell everybody they got to build a foundation. With that foundation, you get to lean into it when you need to. And I've leaned into mine hard the first 2+ months of this year. I said at the end of 2025, I believe I even said it during the season finale of our podcast, that 2026 was going to be our year, and God's had other plans so far. And I could sit here and smile and cry at the same time about it, because it's funny, because you think 2025 was tough. 2026 is going to be good. Oh, but you're going to be jobless, no income, not be able to pay a bill for a month. Was eating off of at one point, I didn't tell nobody, but at one point for like 3 or 4 days, my meals consisted of popcorn and ramen noodles. And it's okay, because I was still provided for. But I just want to speak to the people out there that deal with trauma, or when trauma comes back. It's going to happen. This is the first bout I've had with it in a long time. And maybe it was a good reminder that you got to work your program, because on top of that stuff that's happened, the day that my mom was having her liver transplant, I got another phone call from my Sonic family that let me know one of my Sonic kids passed away in a tragic car wreck. The car she was riding in got hit by a train, and it was tough because I'm at the hospital. I finally made it to the hospital after work, and I'm sitting here praying for mom, and knowing I just lost one of my Sonic kids that was only 25 years old, and that's tough. Yeah, she's leaving behind 2 little babies, and it's like, it just shows how precious life truly is, because my mom was diagnosed with this disease in her 30s, and she could have very well passed away multiple times. And then you have a 25-year-old who's riding in a car and he gets hit by a train. And then I found out toward the end of that week, of last week, that one of my recovery friends in Oklahoma relapsed after 2 years and passed away of a fentanyl overdose. And if you would have known this guy, never would have thought it. He was gung ho recovery. I met him through a mutual friend that was at the ranch, and she's one of my best friends, and she's had her battles. And me and him would coordinate how to get her treatment, and that's how we became buddies. And she called me the other day, or texted me, to let me know he had passed. And that was tough, because it came out of nowhere. Because they always say once you hit that year, your chances go down, but they don't go to zero, y'all. That ice storm in January, it took a lot of us out. I got a special buddy close to my heart, and he had a long time in recovery. Well respected, love him like a brother. He texted me and told me he had relapsed. And it's tough, because never would have expected it. He's in treatment. He's getting help. From the reports I hear, he's doing well. But it just shows you that our recovery journey is fragile. That's why they never say that we're recovered, because something can always happen to knock us out of our recovery. And what happened with the ice storm with a lot of the people that I know that relapsed, because it was multiple. I can't even count it on 2 hands, the people I know that relapsed during the ice storm, is that they lost their meetings. They had no electricity. They felt isolated. They couldn't get out because of the ice. And for people that's not in recovery, y'all don't understand this, that us going to our meetings and being around people, that's one of the most important things in our recovery. So y'all see this as it was just an excuse to get high or get drunk, and it has nothing to do with that. It has to do everything with we get knocked out of our routine that we do day in and day out for our recovery. It's dangerous, because our mind starts playing tricks on us. For the people that don't understand about it, is cancer is a disease. Everybody sees it. You can see cancer. You can see what it does to people. So is addiction and mental health. It's a disease. It's been a disease. It's been considered a disease since the 1950s, and people still put a stigma on it. And I am going to spend everything I have until the day I pass away to break that stigma, because it's not fair. It's not fair that people like us get judged. And I get it, because I was that person. 10 years ago, I judged a homeless person. I can admit it. I judged a homeless person that was on drugs, because I didn't understand. And then I said ignorant shit. What's going on in the world today? People are just talking ignorant stuff all over the place about everything. And if we would talk about love and actually love our neighbor like it says to in the Bible, instead of finding everything difference between all of us, we could fix the world. But until everybody's willing to look in that mirror and realize that they're part of the problem also, we're going to continue to have the division, the hate, the stigma against this disease. People who think they're better because they don't understand addiction. I hear it all the time, even working in the field. They're like, I don't believe in addiction. I believe that if you picked it up the first time, you should be able to put it down whenever you want to. I'm glad you think that, because I can promise you, of all the people that I've had a chance to help in the last 3 years, I have never had a single one of them that was like, you know what? I just wanted to get up every day and smoke crack. I just want to be a drug addict. I've never heard somebody say that. They always say, I wish I didn't pick it up the first time. I didn't know what it was going to do to me. Y'all, this stuff is a mental illness. Addiction, it's a mental illness. That's why I take meds. If I don't take my meds, I'd be off the rocker right now. And I'm a big proponent for medication for the MAP program people don't believe in. I'm for whatever makes people feel better. But I know today I don't feel good, and it's okay. I know today Trauma is kicking my ass. Losing friends is kicking my ass. Losing a job that I poured everything into still kicks my ass a little bit today. But that's okay, because you can take us away from path. But everybody knows, and if the people that released me are watching this, y'all know that we were path. Y'all just got a building called path. I didn't even come in today with a game plan. I just knew I needed to record something. And not record something just to put it out there. I needed to record me not feeling good and not doing good. So all of y'all could understand that it happens. When y'all go through it, it don't mean we're relapsing. We're not picking up a drink. We're not smoking anything. I'm not grabbing a razor blade. I'm not plotting on how to commit suicide. I don't even have the suicidal ideation part. It's been so long since I've truly had it. Now the self-harm aspect came back hard after I lost my job. And then when Mom was having her surgery, I blamed Path, because if I was still working there, I'd have been at the hospital that day sitting with Chris. And that hurts too, because I can tell by looking at my brother how much this transplant surgery is taken out of him. And I can see that there's stuff, that hamster wheel's going around in his head. And I can't say I can guarantee that I know what he's thinking, because I can't. But he has to be having some of the same flashbacks I've been having to say this past week. And if he is, I just want him to know it's okay. I don't even know if my brother will watch this, but I want him to know it's going to be okay. I also want to talk about a little bit our season finale episode. We talked about opening a nonprofit, which we are. We're still working on it, but we have changed the name of the nonprofit. And this is going to be like the coming out of it, because I can't just harvest in the bad no more. I got to do something a little positive. So we're changing the nonprofit name to Roots, because you got to put your roots down somewhere. And you're asking, why Roots? Well, let me tell you why Roots. Roots represents recovery opportunities in an open and transformative space. Roots is going to be, it's more catchy than Morning Juice Pod. And in my opinion, it takes away a stigma that I was starting to feel, because some people think I do this stuff just for notoriety and clout, and it's nothing about that. So changing the name to Roots, and knowing the group of guys I got going in here to work on this, we're working on some big things, y'all. There's some big things coming down the pipeline. Even through all the trauma that I've been fighting, I'm still fighting for that addict out there, fighting hard as hell. For people that don't know, me and Brian, y'all know Brian, producer Brian, we went and had a meeting with a gentleman who has become a friend now. It's weird how this podcast has brought people together. So we met this gentleman named Caesar through a buddy of mine who was on the podcast named Logan. And we shot this idea to Caesar, and I went into the meeting with no expectation, just passion. Not sure where Brian was at with it, but I feel like it was no expectation, just passion. But our passion lit a flame in our meeting, and he told me to get a proposal ready, because he thinks he could get us some investors. And I'm not saying this is going to happen in the next couple of months, but I am saying we're closer than ever than starting what I've been dreaming about since I got out of treatment. And I just want y'all to know that if this pops off, this could change the recovery game in Tennessee. And I don't want to give all the details yet, because I know there's people out there that I have learned that there's people out there in the treatment world that I thought were friends that I realize are not friends, they're snakes. And I hate to say it like that, but that's just as easy as I could say it. And they just, instead of loving the dream that you have, they try to steal it. So I'm not going to give no details until all the paperwork is signed and all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But I will say this: if this works, y'all, this is absolutely everything I wish I had when I first got out of treatment. If this works, it's not going to change the people that need treatment. Not at all. This is going to help you from the day you get out of treatment to help you get to your first year. And the more people we can hit a first year, the more likely, the less likely they are to relapse. It's not 100%. It's never going to be 100%. That's why I will always say I'm in recovery and I am not recovered, because it's I have to fight every day. I saw people during the ice storm with 5, 7, 9+ years in recovery just fall off and have to go back to treatment. I saw one, two, three since January pass away. Shit's real. And anything I can do, let me take that back. Anything our team can do, because this is a team effort now. It's not just it's not just me and Brian. It started off as me and Brian, but I realized that it's going to take a lot more people than me and Brian to get it shot off. It's my ideas, but it's got a lot of other people's ideas collaborated with it to make the idea we had, to be a even a better idea. And I am, even I cannot hear it in my voice at the moment, but I am super stoked at how close we are. Brian, shake your head. You think we're pretty stoked right now, right? We're borderline. We could be within a month of having the most important meeting of our life. And I'm stoked about it because the hard work that the team has done, the Winks, the Tims, the Bryans, the T-Bells, the work that we have done collectively, and the work that Caesar's willing to do with us because he believes in it, to the point where I even brought him onto the team, because I feel like the more like-minded people that I have in this journey, the more lives we're going to change. And at the end of the day, it's all I care about. I care about getting people healthy again. And so pray for us, because literally, y'all, if ideas like this happen in California and Florida and New York, they don't happen in Tennessee. Tennessee has a good recovery base, but we're behind on a lot of stuff that the state offers that California, Florida, New York offer a lot. And I hope with this plan and this idea that changes the game some, raises the bar a little bit, maybe be big enough to where this idea starts popping up in little country towns around Tennessee that can't afford a lot of treatment places. You little small towns that have the really bad meth problems and the bad fent problems. This idea could pop up in those little towns. And of course, y'all know I'm going to talk to Alan and get Alan on board with me too, from Chase Away Fentanyl. He knows about it and he's down with it, and we just got to get him healthy. And Alan, if you're watching this, God bless you. You're right there close to the finish line battling that demon that's called cancer. And we know you're going to make it. We love you. And I can't wait to get you on the podcast to tell your story and to sit down with you and see how we can collab. And Dennis from the Shelby Foundation, same thing, man. Like I want other nonprofits to collaborate with us to make this thing as big as possible. But it's going to take money, y'all. It's going to take money, and not just donations just from us. It's going to take people with deep pockets, and I understand that. And I didn't understand that when I first started this dream, but I understand it now. Some of my close friends know what I want to do, and they've said they can't even believe I came up with an idea like this. And honestly, I can't believe a lot of times, but I will say this, y'all. I will say this, and then I'll go to the end, to closing part of it. Everything I do is what God tells me to do. I'm just a vessel. Mama Carol told me when I went to the ranch that last time, God had a bigger purpose for me than Sonic. And I found that purpose. And I know my God's real. And anybody that would have known me 4 years ago would have been like, this atheist motherfucker believes in God now. And I do, every day. I hear God talk to me every day. And y'all could say I'm crazy, but I do. Like, I hear him. When people said they could hear God talk, I was like, y'all are crazy. But if you just sit down and just sit with it, man, he'll lead you the right way. All these things I do is for him. He wants his kids healed. And as I come to the close of this, I've been questioning myself for days on how to do this. But I have a platform, And I have a platform for every person on this earth. And I have to speak up for people because I love everybody. I love everybody. Democrat, Republican, white, black, Asian, Russian. I don't care. I don't care. I love everybody. I want the best for everybody. And I'm not a political person because being political, 50% of the country is going to hate you. And in my field, I don't want nobody to hate me because I want to be able to love everybody. So this ain't a political statement. This is a statement of love. It's actually a spiritual statement. Let me change that up. This is a spiritual statement because I'm not a religious person, because religion was man-made. Being spiritual with God, it's all you need. And I feel God would be disappointed with a lot of people today for the way they treat everybody. All the protests going on in this country, to the bills being passed in Tennessee, where people are putting their own ideology on what they think is right and wrong in our state and our country. People, we just gotta love each other. You might not agree with gay people, lesbians, trans. You may not agree with it, but you can still love them. You can still respect their relationships. They're not out here trying to hurt nobody. But some of the stuff going on right now in Tennessee, I can't take it no more. And I have to speak up because it's the right thing to do. It's not the political thing to do. So if you think this is political, just stop. Because anybody knows me, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm just juice. But there's 3 laws I want to hit on real quick before I go. And this could be career suicide. And if so, that's okay. Because I always said, I'm going to do what's right. Because that's what we're supposed to do. If you've got a platform, you're supposed to do what's right. My political party is love. I just love people. To pass a law in this day of age to say if a woman has an abortion that she could get the death penalty in the state of Tennessee is ludicrous. It don't matter if I agree or disagree with abortion, but no woman should face the death penalty because of that. Especially in the same state that just passed a bill yesterday to put foster kids in juvie without even a record. So you don't even have a place for these kids to go. So you're going to stick them in juvie. But if a woman has an abortion, you're going to give her the death penalty. That's not love. That's ideology. God wants us to love everybody. That's not being loving. And the last one I want to hit on is the bill that Tennessee just passed that lets people not recognize that gay people are married. I have got friends and family in the gay community and in the recovery community. I'm not gay, but I don't care who is gay because I love them for the person. I love them for the person because they have a soul. There is no way, with all the gay people I've known my whole life, there is no way that you're not born gay. It's just my opinion. Because who the hell wants to wake up one day and decide to be something, to be ridiculed the way they are, to watch people get offended because they have a parade once a month, 1 month out of the year, and you don't even know how many people's been killed for being gay. I've got friends that are trans, and what the media don't want to tell you is how many people transition back to their original gender once they get some help. Because literally they hated themselves so bad, they thought they could change their whole appearance to make them feel better, and it didn't help. Who am I to judge that person? Am I going to try to help that person get better and get over their trauma? And if they stay that gender they want to be, great. If they go back, great. God just wants us to love one another. And I'm tired of seeing everybody fight. And this ain't, like I said, this ain't a political statement. This is a love statement. We got to come together, y'all. I want a community where I am determined to have a community in my fight for a unity and community. I am determined to have a community where whites, blacks, Asians, gay people, homeless people, rich people can all sit down in the same room and realize there's more in common than there's not. So instead of all of us hating one another, let's have a protest or a parade for all of us loving one another. Let's do something that shows how we love our neighbors. And the people that want to be religious and pick the Bible apart for this, that, and the other, the 2 most important things in that Bible is love thy neighbor and love yourself. And that's how I choose to live my life. I have not come across a person in the last 3 years that you know what? I hate that person. I don't like what he's got on. I don't think I've ever said, oh, my clothes are nicer than his. I can't talk to that person. Oh, don't go talk to that homeless person. He might try to rob you. I don't do that. And to watch this country go into that, y'all, there's a lot more people out there with mental health illness than y'all think, because it ain't right. And I didn't want this thing to go this way. But as I told you, God always speaks through me. So I want to end this today with love yourself first, and then learn to love your neighbor. Because everybody casting these stones, it's just as bad as the sin that you think they're committing. And with that, I know this was a little darker turn than y'all are used to, but I can't stand it no more. And part of this project that we're working on, this is the shit we're going to do. We are going to get people to love each other in their communities again. We're going to get rid of what's different about everybody. We're supposed to be different. We're not supposed to fight one another. It seems like we come together when a tornado rips through a town and we help each other out, but then as soon as everything's back together, we're bickering and fighting and talking shit about one another again. Let's get back to the values of what we're supposed to be. If you want to be biblical or religious or whatever, I choose to be spiritual. But I do know it says in the Bible, love yourself and love thy neighbor as you would yourself. And unless you're that person doing that, nobody else can judge anybody, because we all got work to do. And with that being said, Juicers, I'm done. I love y'all, and we'll see you next time. Peace.